Hey guys, it's me, Helena, and welcome back to Cosmic Compass, the leading astrocartography and relocation astrology podcast, where I help you find your best places in the world, understand predictive timing, astrology, and talk about whatever else I want to talk about. And in today's episode, this was actually a question that I got on Instagram in a Q&A for Alex and I. We have a whole episode of Q&A. It's a long one, all about all the questions, the burning questions that you guys had about our marriage, our relationship, working together, all the things. And I answered a lot of your questions in that episode. If you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, be sure to follow me over on Ms. Helena Wood so you can submit your questions for the next upcoming podcast episodes and YouTube videos. But this question I got in a DM, and I thought it was a really good standalone podcast episode and YouTube video. So I just wanted to film a whole episode on this. And this is about synastry and relationship compatibility and what are the signs to look for in a relationship to see if you guys are compatible and have, is it going to be a long-lasting marriage, a relationship, a partnership? These are the signs to look out for. Now, before we get started in today's episode of the podcast, please be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your episodes, because that will really support me as a podcast, a creator, showing up, giving you this free content every week. I really am very thankful for all of you who have submitted reviews. Seriously means a lot, and it helps to encourage me to continue posting episodes for you guys to listen to. So thanks so much in advance. If you're watching the video version of this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up, and let me know what your favorite part of the episode is down below in the comments. And also, before we get started, be sure to get my free astrocartography cheat sheet and my newest freebie, Mapping Mysteries Revealed, which is my new private podcast, 3-part audio series, all on the top questions that you've asked me about astrocartography. I got that answered for you in this private podcast. You can get all of that down below in the description. I answer your questions like relocation charts versus natal charts, or where should I go with my partner or a family? How do I choose where to go? Or the other question that I often get is, what about the disharmonious aspects? Are those a deal breaker? Tell me more about that. I've answered all those questions in this private podcast, which you can get in the link in the show notes. All right, so this question came on Instagram from Camille. So let's get into the synastry question. Based on what it seems to be an excellent partnership in life, you two, she means Alex and me, seem to support one another professionally and are equals in balance. It's true. What aspects of your charts do you feel are the top reasons for why you can work so well together? So I'm going to go into our synastry and why we work as a couple, both in business and personally, as well as the common synastry things to look out for when you're looking at relationship compatibility. And we're talking about synastry specifically. I'm going to touch briefly on composite charts, which is showing the overall story of your relationship together. And you can also use predictive timing techniques like transits and progressions over the composite chart to see when those life topics are getting activated in terms of timing. So I want to start with Alex and my synastry, and then I'll get into some examples of this. So one of the biggest things I've seen with Alex and my charts is we have each other's moons on each other's south nodes. So this is a karmic, you could say past life, I do believe in past lives, kind of relationship where you feel instantly familiar, or like you remember that person, like you've been together in a past life, or you've known each other previously. When I met Alex for the first time, it felt very familiar, like he was my family, like I've known him. And when I later looked at our synastry, seeing each other's moons on each other's south nodes very tightly, very closely, was a profound thing to see. Just that feeling of family, of coming home, of comfort, comfortability. It's just natural and easy. The other thing that's really indicative in the charts, and I'm actually going to put the visual wheel on the chart here on the YouTube video. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see the visual examples as well. But we also have Venus and Jupiter conjunct. So Venus conjunct Jupiter in a chart, or Jupiter conjunct Venus in a chart, is playful, silly, humorous, not taking life too seriously, laughing a lot, being able to play and have fun together. There's this lightheartedness of being able to really enjoy each other's company and find pleasure in one another, both, intellectually, ideas-wise, but also, romance, pleasure, all of that. So seeing the two benefics, or the two best planets in astrology, Venus and Jupiter together, conjunct like that, is a very cool thing to see in a birth chart. The other sign that we have in our birth charts is his Venus is right on my ascendant. So he has Venus in Scorpio conjunct Pluto, and it's right on my Scorpio rising. So he is very attracted to me. He finds me very attractive. We always say that we're obsessed with each other, and he's definitely extremely obsessed with me, always wanting to know what I'm doing. He just is fascinated and adores me and worships me. And I don't say this in a way of like a bad thing, because I worship and obsess over him as well. I would die for him. As I said in this previous podcast episode in the Q&A, he's the best thing in my life. But there's just this sense of like, he adores me. And so when you have someone's Venus, which Venus in astrology shows what that person sees value in, or is aesthetically pleased by, or finds attractive. When you have that person's Venus on your ascendant or vice versa, there's just major attraction there, physically as well as who the person is on an identity level. So I'm Scorpio rising. I see life through a Scorpio lens, and he's very attracted to Scorpio energy, and it's something he values is Scorpionic energy, which, you know, Scorpio is still waters run deep, depth, intensity, commitment, dedication, loyalty, but also this sense of passionate charisma and magnetism. So, you know, having someone's Venus on your ascendant, huge thing to look out for. We also have Venus squaring Mars in our charts, which is hot. When you have a square from a benefic, it actually is more supportive in Hellenistic traditional astrology. So seeing like Venus squaring a planet, or Venus or Jupiter, the two benefics squaring a planet, it actually can help support it. So Venus squaring Mars is passion. It is hot. It is sexual. It is alive. It is just real. It is very, very passionate. So having that in the chart, we're just super hot for each other. So I love the Venus square Mars. We also have a lot of trines to Saturn. And so this is another thing I would want to look at in your synastry is, do you have longevity? Is there a sense of enduringness or long-term commitment and dedication to one another? Because you can be passionate about someone. You can find someone to be really hot or sexual and have a fling, but is there long-term potential? Is there the serious dedication to lifelong commitment? That's when we're looking at Saturn things. So if you see Saturn trining a personal planet in someone's chart or vice versa, I really love that for long-standing, enduring commitment of, you know, you could be with this person for life, or you could grow old together, or you take your partnership really seriously. There's longevity there. Seeing trines or sextiles, you know, sextiles are aspects that are less supportive than trines, but they're definitely a helping hand. They're kind of like the acquaintance or the accomplice. They're helpful, but trines are like the good cheerleader, the best friend that's helping you out and really pulling you up the hill. And so having like a Saturn trining a personal planet, very, very nice to see. And so I think we have, I can't remember what it was, but it's like something like Mercury trine Saturn or Venus trine Saturn. And I'll put the example here on the video if you want to watch the YouTube version. Some other things to look out for, I'm just kind of speaking at the top of my head. I don't have any notes here. But some other things I would really look out for are compatibility with communication. Obviously, communication is huge. Alex and I talk about this being one of the key components of our long-lasting marriage in the Q&A episode on the podcast. But we talk all about how communication, open communication, being able to mentally stimulate one another or find each other mentally stimulating, I think is really important. And so this is what I'm looking for, trines to Mercury. And this is when, you know, and to understand trines and supportive aspects in astrology, you actually want to look to the element. So is your Mercury in an air sign, an earth sign, a water sign, or a fire sign? So my Mercury is in Gemini, so I have Mercury in air. So how I process and think and communicate is very fast, like a hummingbird. I speak quickly, I think fast. I'm changeable, like my ideas change. I change my mind on things. I'm able to move very quickly and adaptable and be very flexible to ideas and thoughts and opinions, right? It's also just a lot of ideas. And so for me, I've always known that like intellectual stimulation is very key to like winning my heart. And so looking for a partner who had also an air Mercury. So we're looking at Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini. You know, being able to find a partner that has their Mercury also in an air sign, which then would mean that our Mercuries are trined, which are very supportive. seeing that ease-filled communication in a synastry just shows that we're going to have great communication. Like there's an openness there. There is a ability to mentally stimulate one another and talk about a lot of things. My husband and I are constantly talking. We always are talking. We're always joking, laughing. There's always things to talk about. We never run out of things to talk about. We've been together 10 years and it's never boring. So, my husband has Mercury in Libra, an air sign, and I have Mercury in Gemini, air sign. They're trined because they're both in the same element of air. So if you have your Mercury in Pisces, I would definitely be looking for someone who has their Mercury in Pisces, Mercury in Cancer, or Mercury in Scorpio. If you have your Mercury in an earth sign, I would look for someone who has their Mercury in Taurus, Mercury in Capricorn, or Mercury in Virgo. And if you have your Mercury, how you communicate, in a fire sign, I'd be looking to Mercury in Leo, Mercury in Sagittarius, or Mercury in Aries, just to give you that ease and ability to communicate and conversate with each other. So Mercury, very important, especially when we're talking about conversation and communication. Another thing I like to look at is sun-moon connections. Sun-moon synastry, it's one of the basic things you'll find when you start getting into synastry, but it's one of the nicest, most important things to see in synastry is when someone's sun is on each other, is in the same sign as someone's moon. If you can get it exact or very close by degree, even better, because it's making a closer conjunction, so they're showing a stronger bond there. But as an example, my husband has his moon in Taurus and I have my sun in Taurus. It's not exactly right on top of each other, but they're close enough and they're also just in the same sign. So just having my Taurus sun on his moon is really nice for just that sense of being able to understand and connect with one another in an ease-filled way. So what he craves and desires and finds comfort and stability in, I embody, and those are my goals and motivations in life, is the Taurus element. So I shine in my Taurus self, and I also have a lot of wants, motivations, and I'm becoming more Taurus in my life as I grow older. I always like to say that you're kind of born like your rising sign. You are your rising, right? That's your identity. It's who you are. It's the most important part of your chart, but your sun, you really start to embody that as you grow older. It's your becoming, and it's also your motivations, your willpower, your will, and how you go after things in life, along with your Mars. But the sun is such a huge embodiment of who you are and what you're going after. And you really become more like it as you get older. And so he finds a lot of safety and security, and also finds a lot of connection and ease in his moon, his emotional desires in my sun. So having sun-moon conjunction synastry, having it in the same sign, really beautiful to see in synastry. Another thing I like to look at is Venus synastry, having Venus trining someone's Venus, just like we talked about with Mercury. So if you have your Venus in an air sign, look to someone who also has their Venus in an air sign, or sextiling, Venus sextiling one another. That's really lovely to see. Now, my husband and I don't have this synastry. I have my Venus in Gemini, and he has his Venus in Scorpio. But again, there's that beautiful synastry of his Venus is on my rising, so that works. What are some other things to look out for? Let's see. Oh, Juno. Juno is the asteroid representing marriage and what you value in long-term partnership and marriage. My husband has his Juno in Libra, and I also have my Juno in Libra. They're literally the same. Our Junos are together in the same sign. So that's another just really lucky thing to see for long-term marriage, and what we value in marriage and partnership is the same. We both have our Junos, the asteroid Juno in Libra. So having the Juno in the same placement, or trining or sextiling one another. Again, trines or sextiles are simpatico. They're very comfortable with one another when you have planets that are sextile or trining each other. They just understand each other really well. North node, south node synastry is also key for, feeling like your life paths are together on purpose. There's just a sense of a calling, a pull, your soul either feels a remembrance and a familiarity. I gave the example of his moon is on my south node and my moon is on his south node. There's just that feeling of we've known each other before. We feel very, comfortable with each other. It's very easy. But also with the North Node, we don't have the North Node stuff. But if you have a North Node, if you have the North Node, a point, it's not a planet. But if you have the North Node on one of your personal planets, on the person's personal planets or vice versa, there's some sort of calling, or you're learning a lot from each other in this lifetime. And so I like to see that for feeling a sense of destiny or purpose in your soul's involvement with that person. Is really cool to see. So that's really the synastry for me and my husband. Those are all the main things that I remember at the top of my head that we have our synastry in. Also, one quick thing to note with the composite chart, the composite chart shows the overarching themes and stories of your marriage rather than like relationship compatibility. And you could do this with anyone, not just a married partner, your friends, your coworkers. I do composite charts for everyone I work with, just to see like our storylines. Our composite, my business coach and mine, we have really amazing MC career composite stories. A composite chart is different from a synastry chart in that synastry is two wheels, like one on top of the other. So it's a bi-wheel. So you're seeing how one person relates to the other and like how it's almost like your compatibility. Like how do you communicate with each other? What do you value in one another, etc. A composite chart is a different chart in the sense it's merging the midpoints of both partners together in one chart. So it's one wheel. And when you have any planets conjunct an angle, the ascendant, descendant, IC, MC, very key to see like what the main themes are in your partnership. When you have transits to those angles, very cool to see as well, because that's when those areas of life will be activated for you in the partnership. So as an example, in my husband and my composite chart, we have the sun on the midheaven, like within a degree. And so what that looks like is we're meant to shine in public together, whether that be in career, whether that be we allow ourselves to be seen by other people, our goals and what we had hoped to achieve in this life, we help each other achieve those goals in this lifetime in terms of impact, career, accomplishments, etc. There's something about being seen or helping each other achieve our dreams. That's the sun on the MC angle or the midheaven angle, that sensitive degree in both a chart and a composite chart. We have that. So that's a storyline that we have in this lifetime together. And so when we have transits or progressions hitting that sun and MC in our composite chart, that's showing when the timing of that is being activated in our lives. Because sometimes things can remain dormant in your life, like a part of your birth chart, your natal promise, or a composite chart. And when it's being activated by timing, it awakens and elevates that experience that's showing up in that moment in life. That's predictive timing. You guys know I'm obsessed with predictive timing and understanding just how things happen for people using zodiacal releasing, progressions, annual perfections, all the different timing techniques. I love teaching on all of it. If you wanted to learn more about timing techniques, I have a course called Trust Your Timeline, which you can get down below in the description. I'll include the link down below. I go in depth on zodiacal releasing, and then I also touch a lot on transits, especially in the class call examples. There's so many examples and class calls where you can learn all of this and see how it works. Get all of that information down below in the description or the show notes of this podcast. And also I have a ton of YouTube videos as well, like how to time your life using transits, lunar progressions, etc. So if you want to go watch those videos, I'll include that in the predictive timing playlist down below so you can watch those as well. One other thing I do want to mention is if you see like someone's sun on their Venus or someone's sun on their Jupiter, or the moon conjunct Jupiter, moon conjunct Venus, seeing the sun or the moon, a luminary, conjunct another person's benefic like Jupiter or Venus, those are big things that I'm always looking out for as well when I'm looking at someone's synastry. Sun, moon on top of a benefic for someone else, love to see that because there's just a sense of ease, joy, humor, silliness, or just enjoying each other's company that just makes the relationship a lot easier. In terms of balance, Alex and I have an amazing balance in our relationship, both personally, romantic-wise, friendship-wise, partnership-wise, being each other's teammates, but also professionally. And I really think it has to do with just not only open communication, but also our composite chart and our synastry. I think obviously astrology is the indicator of that because the astrology is showing that which already is. We already have this relationship connection and compatibility. It's always been this way since we met, but the astrology just showcases or signifies, reflects, informs that which is already present. And so it's essential to look at synastry when you're thinking about getting into a relationship with someone. It's the first thing I look at. When my husband and I started dating on our very first date back in January 5th, 2015, I took him to the Strand bookstore in New York City and I took him to the astrology section and I asked him for his birthday. And I showed him his birthday in the birthday book. And I asked him, I was like, what's your Venus sign and all that? And he didn't know it. And so, of course, I had to play with it on my birth chart calculator later on when I got home. But when I saw, some of these placements and just the first thing I noticed on his dating profile was that he was a Virgo. And I love Virgos, being a Taurus sun. I just love fellow earth signs so much. when I saw that he was a Virgo, I was like, oh, I have to meet this guy. It was the first thing I noticed on his OkCupid dating profile way back in the day in 2014 when I found him on OkCupid, the dating app, and I swiped on his profile picture. I saw his eyes. I was like, oh my gosh, I've known him before. I have to meet this guy. I feel so resonant and connecting with him. Scrolled down to the bottom of the dating profile, saw that he was a Virgo, took him on that first date, took him to the Strand bookstore, made him tell me his birthday information, and the rest is history. We've been together 10 years later, and it's truly the best thing in my life. It's the easiest thing in my life. It's I think partly why I have so much success and why I have so much ease and joy in my life is because I have the space to do those things because my personal life is so nourished and supported and grounded. And it's such a blessing. It's such a privilege to find a partner that supports all the things that you dream of. And it's just there cheering you on and being your biggest cheerleader. It really is the most wonderful thing. And so I hope everyone can find love, can find compatibility, companionship. It doesn't even have to be, a passionate romance or a relationship. It can be companionship. I think we as human beings are social creatures. We are designed to be social and to connect and form relationships with one another, whether it be friendships, spiritual connections with people. And the synastry and the composite chart is literally informing that which is already happening. It's giving us so much clarity as to that which is already going on. So I hope you enjoyed this very quick little episode. I talked a mile a minute in this episode. My Mercury and Gemini brain goes so fast. The voice, it has to keep up with the brain. Sometimes I will stutter or mess up my words because my brain is already a sentence or two ahead. And so I have to focus on what I'm saying now. But I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. Very quick, very short, but I'm trying to get shorter episodes out to you guys because I don't want these episodes or videos to take too much of your time. I want to give you all the information because, we're kind of just bombarded by content these days and want to give you all the value and knowledge without taking too much of your time. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcasts and comment down below the shooting star emoji if you're watching this on YouTube so I can know how many of you have stuck around to the end. It really lets me know if you guys are watching these videos, supporting the videos, and helps to inform me what to make going forward. Let me know if you have any questions, any topics that you'd like me to make on for the podcast. I'm happy to make some videos supporting you. And I hope you have a magical day and happy astro travels. I'll see you in the next one.